the floor to Francesco Bandarin, Assistant Director General for Culture, UNESCO. Thank you, Mr. Undersecretary Mantica, Mr. Undersecretary for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Puglisi, Ambassador Serra, our representative at UNESCO. Today I have the privilege and the honor, on behalf of the General Director of UNESCO, Irina Bokova, that will be with us tomorrow, to wish you a very warm welcome on behalf of UNESCO at this second World Forum on Culture and Cultural Industries that takes place in this wonderful setting of the Villa Reale. I would like to convey my feelings of gratitude to the Lombardy Regional Administration and to Mr. Formigoni, who has left us, but I've met him on several occasions precisely regarding this subject. Well, the Lombardy Regional Administration has been extremely generous in organizing this event. And also would like to thank all of the other parties involved in setting up this successful event. And I'd like to thank Mr. Buscemi that provided us with invaluable support, as well as Minister Zanello, who was really a protagonist of the previous edition of the forum. As an international forum, I am supposed to use the foreign languages of the UNESCO. So I'll switch to French. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great joy for UNESCO to promote ideas through words and images. Books are destined to be important in the future. There still are many developments, quick developments. So due to these changes, we are called to ask ourselves worrying questions. Our time is characterized by uncertainty, and therefore in this field too there are many open questions. What will our children read? What will be the media? How can we fight illiteracy? How will reading and writing change? What will be the work of writers and journalists alike? These are very important questions that remind us of most important values and important stakes in our contemporary world. It is everyone's business to ask ourselves these questions, and therefore UNESCO. UNESCO is first and foremost an international cooperation agency and not only a specialized agency of UNESCO. And, it appeals to all men and women committed to the value of culture. Just after the Second World War, UNESCO had passed two fundamental pieces of legislation. The Florence Agreement that was created to reduce the obstacles posed by national borders against the circulation of ideas, and the Universal Convention of Copyright. UNESCO is also the organization that supports a program that protects the book archives of the world. And our organization has launched together with the Library of Congress, the World Digital Library, which makes available a huge documentation in different language, thus enhancing exchange and intercultural comprehension and understanding. UNESCO also created the program World Book Capital. This year it is Buenos Aires. It basically rewards the best programs to promote reading. And we also organized the World Day for Book and Copyright. It has been celebrated since 1996 all over the world. So it is in this context that many framework regulations were passed over the past 20 years in many different countries, and especially developing countries, through the support of UNESCO experts.
Second Global Forum on Cultural Industries, dedicated to the future of the books and writing, is an integral part of this decade-long collective effort, which has involved different generations in a single ethical commitment made on a universal scale at the time of the creation of UNESCO. For us, reading technologies and practices can influence the course and the quality of our very existence in the world in many ways. Economics, the copyrights, and the libraries are the three entry points that we have chosen in collaboration with the experts that are part of the scientific committee of the forum for our reflection on what is undoubtedly bound to be a cultural, economic, social, and legal global revolution. Let me take the opportunity, as I mentioned, the scientific committee of the forum, to thank our former colleague and former director of the Library of Spain, Milagros del Corral, who has accepted to chair the scientific committee along this time with great dedication and competence. And I would like also to thank all the colleagues that both in Paris and in Milan have helped us in developing the program for this conference. The first theme, the economics of the book, reveal that the digital media revolution is transforming the structure of prices and changing the roles of professionals and investors. The economic models associated with the printing techniques that were introduced in the late 15th century is now over. And the traditional value chain has become unrecognizable, with significant implications in terms of access to reading, book distribution, and taxation. When it comes to the second issue, the copyright, the digital revolution raises complex issues for the application of the principles on which publishing was built in the last century. It is increasingly difficult for a large sector of society to recognize that downloadable content has a price. As we're seeing, there's a growing confusion between free access and without cost. Asking authors to abandon their economic rights on the other side is certainly not a fair and viable solution. Finally, the third theme, libraries, of course, points to what for us is the alpha and omega of our work, the reader. Although very receptive to new technologies, libraries are often forced to radically review their working methods in the current context. They discover new ways to safeguard collections, to organize access to reading, as well as new competitors and partners. Their venture into this terra incognita of the digital world is full of surprises and risks. Of course, UNESCO does not, despite its long experience in these fields, have any preconceived notions on practical, sustainable, and durable solutions to the challenges of publishing and reading that we are facing today. As an international multilateral body, UNESCO provides a platform for exchange and dialogue, and we want, above all, to listen and to facilitate the development of a shared vision that would otherwise be partial, fragmentary, and even contradictory. So, in line with the constitution of the organization, we pledge to listen carefully and to summarize what is said in the course of these 3 days that we will spend together here in Monza. And on Wednesday, in closing the forum, I will try to present a summary of the discussions, and that I hope will enable us to gain a new perspective and to face the future with more ideas and options. Cari partecipanti,
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, in concluding my remarks, I would like to tell you that I truly hope that our work will be fruitful and successful. Thank you.